I think the sacrifice that soldiers' wives and families make now is, and husbands, I know there are women soldiers, but I don't think we give them enough credit for the sacrifice they put forth. And granted, it's not anything like it used to be as far as communication and all of that, but it's still a huge, huge strain on families. And I think we should honor them more.
Could you imagine what it's like having to defend for your life, literally at gunpoint in a foreign country you know nothing about? Furthermore, imagine a family member in this predicament. It takes a courageous heart and a love for your country to fight in a war that you know little about. For the past month, we've had the opportunity to gain a perspective of the daughters whose fathers were away in the Vietnam War. Throughout their stories, it was evident that the fathers became their own personal heroes. Before speaking with the daughters of the Vietnam War veterans, our group assumed that there would be a lot of resentment towards their fathers because of the lack of stability in the home. However, after speaking with these women, we were in awe with the sense of gratitude they had towards their fathers. Some veteran soldiers were wounded in the war, which caused a strain on families. However, they still admired their father for going to the war and respected his duty as a soldier in the Vietnam War.
He was in a body cast when he came home. This is a picture of him in our house in a body cast, and he moved from that to a wheelchair, and it was about 2 years for recovery. And then after that, I mean, he was home most of all the time, but he didn't. He couldn't play like he used to could. He was a lot more physically challenged. Emotionally, he was still the same dad.
The communication during the war was very difficult and inconsistent. It was hard for them to hear one another over a handheld radio. Leslie Fetty and her siblings would gather around a cassette tape every week to record their life at school and in general for their father to hear. Communication was very important for the soldiers during the war. They could get important information and to be involved in their families' lives overseas.
We would sometimes get a phone call in the middle of the night at our house, and it would be my dad somehow patched through several radio interfaces on a ham radio, which I don't even know if those exist anymore, I don't know. But you would have to say, "I love you, over," and then you'd hear all this crackling, and in a minute you'd hear a voice of a man that may or may, it could have been anybody's dad, you couldn't really tell, and he'd say, "You be sweet, I love you, over," and it would be, that would be all we would get.
With each daughter's unique story, there is one major commonality, which is that they all had to be without their father due to their duty of fighting in the Vietnam War. This detrimental time in their life gave them more of an appreciation and respect for their father as soldiers who were fighting for their country. Let's listen to what Leslie Fetty has to say about the lasting impact of her father during this time.
My father always put our family first, then and now. He is a hero to me for his strength in all situations, his integrity to always try to do what's right, even when it may be the hardest or most unpopular thing to do. He is a leader, and many have looked up to him for guidance. To me, he is the most important man in my world. He makes me feel safe, loved, and protected. He believes in our country and his job to protect it and its citizens, even when it is not popular to do so. Today's wars are so different, and people finally realize it is not the soldier who decides where or if they fight. I guess civilian children don't understand the fear in a military family's separation or the time commitments. Civilian separations are by choice.